Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting of council for Monday, January 12th, 2026. I'll ask everyone to please stand for the national anthem. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to members of council, staff, and the public. We'll call the meeting to order. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, motion to accept the agenda. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda of the regular meeting of Council on Monday, January the 12th, 2026.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, moving on to the adoption of the previous minutes. Councillor Massey.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. Regular meeting of council minutes, Monday, December 8th, 2025. Special meeting of council minutes, Thursday, January 8th, 2026.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. There are none opposed. Okay, moving on to, we have no delegations this evening. Moving on to staff reports. 6A, Community Services Department, CS 2026-01, South Nation Conservation Tree Planting Services Agreement. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number CS 2026-01, South Nation Conservation Authority Tree Planting Service Agreement. That bylaw 03-2026 being a bylaw to enter into a tree planting services agreement with the South Nation Conservation Authority. We read a first, a second, or be read a first, second, and third time, and enacted in open council this 12th day of January 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council will recall back in the fall of 2024, Council authorized staff to proceed with entering into a partnership with the South Nation Conservation Authority on a funding submission to Growing Canada's canopies. And at that time, Council had indicated support for contributing $5,000 towards this 2-year funding opportunity. In the late fall of last year, we did receive notice that the South Nation Conservation Authority was successful in receiving or in their application for the funding opportunity. So as such, they've provided us with a drafted agreement to provide their tree planting services within their jurisdiction within North Glengarry. So as such, we're presenting this bylaw to council tonight for approval to allocate $25,000 as the contribution for 2026 and the $2,500 contribution again in 2027, which both, this allotment for 2026 has been factored into our 2026 budget planning exercise already. I do want to make note to council that the tree planting schedule that was provided to you within your packages is still subject to change. We are working with both the South Nation Conservation Authority and the Glengarry Pioneer Museum, just to fine tune the locations of some of the trees that we're proposing for the area, as well as, you know, any changes that we make will be within that $2,500 allotment for this year. So we're looking at the sites of the Maxville Water Tower in addition to the Glengarry Pioneer Museum, which was also consulted with the Community Development Committee earlier in 2025. And so as such, we'll just be working within those projects to fine tune a few items, but nonetheless bringing this to council for their approval this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on this? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a great partnership, this kind of thing, and certainly those two locations could use some trees being planted, for sure. Just with regards to the, I don't know what the title of this, the tree planting work plan provided by South Nation, it just talks about the Pioneer Museum as being a municipally owned museum. Which it isn't. It's a not-for-profit, so that should probably be changed. And Mr. Mayor, that's not municipal property, is it? Is it? The land is?
I don't think so.
Well, I know the hall is.
Yeah,
In any case, we don't want to give the impression that this is like, you know, a municipally owned facility or museum, because it isn't, and we should find out if it's on municipal land or not. Not that it makes a difference, I just think for clarity purposes, so it doesn't raise questions.
Definitely.
And then just a question about the South Nation Conservation's fee schedule, because I was looking at it here somewhere, and, you know, they've got charges for various things. Do you know out of the $5,000 in total, what the South Nation Conservation is, what fees they're charging in order to provide this service?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the way this grant works is they match our contribution, so through the grant funding. So essentially, through that breakdown, the $2,500 is a portion made up of both administrative fees, the cost of the trees, and you know, the research associated to the planning of where they go. All of that is captured within our $2,500 allotment, and then any excess in the amount of $2,500 is covered through the course of the grant funding. So ultimately, it's altogether a project of, let's say, $5,000 that is kind of split in the middle between the two to cover both of all of those costs that I noted.
Do we know what the administrative costs are? Because they're quite hefty.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, we can ask for a further breakdown or clarity surrounding the administrative costs. I'll admit I haven't I see they've provided some information on their services provided, but we can do a more clear breakdown of what it's going towards.
Well, just for transparency purposes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Just going back, I just checked on Geo Warehouse, so the owner of it is the Glengarry Pioneer Museum 2013. So they own it on their own, it's not owned by us. Okay, if there's no further questions, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. There are none opposed. Okay, moving on to Treasury Department, DR 2026-01, Drainage Services Proposal. Welcome, Zoe. Oh, sorry, put it on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives report DR 2026-01 Drainage Services Proposal, and that bylaw 0226 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 12th day of January 2026.
Okay, thank you. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, the township has appointed Shade Group as their drainage superintendent. The township is very pleased with the quality of work. However, Shade Group is located in the Ottawa area, and the distance has posed a financial challenge when on-site work is needed. Due to this, staff have spoken to several local contractors. However, the only local contractor with capacity to take on another municipality was LaRue Consultant. LaRue Consultant has significant knowledge and experience and are fully bilingual. $75,000 was included in the 2026 budget, with half being grantable through OMAFA. Staff recommend that LaRue Consultant be appointed as drainage superintendent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
quick one. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are we done with Shade Group, or will they still offer services as required and requested?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we will always have the option to continue working with Shade Group for specific projects. As it was now, our hands were somewhat tied because they can't provide engineering services and drainage superintendent services if it's going to be a conflict of interest. So we will most likely continue to use Shade Group when it's necessary.
The engineering side of things more?
Exactly,
Okay.
yes.
And obviously the bilingual part of it is excellent, so good, thank you.
Okay, further questions or comments at this time? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, moving on to TR 2026 budget adoption. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report TR 2026-01, 2026 budget adoption, and that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopts the 2026 budget as amended at the January 8, 2026 budget meeting, with a net municipal tax levy requirement of $7,536,593.
Okay, thank you. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council held a special meeting on January 8th to review the draft 2026 operating and capital budget. At that meeting, 2 changes were made. The $130,000 commitment to the Maxville slab will be financed through reserves instead of the tax base, and the garbage fee will be reduced from the proposed $200 to $180. These changes reduce the tax levy increase from 5.91% to 5.46%. The total levy requirement for 2026 is $7,536,593. The budget document is attached and will be posted on the township website for public access and made aware at the township office. Staff will finalize the tax rates, including the county and education rates, and bring this back to council for approval at a later date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Question on, have we heard anything from the counties? We've already completed our budget. So do we know what the total tax rate, well, we don't have education yet?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the education portion has not changed, so it'll be the same. However, I have not officially received anything yet, but I'm assuming it's coming very shortly.
Okay. Okay. Further questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just a comment and compliments to yourself and staff on producing really a tight budget that was really
In a difficult
very,
year, yeah.
Yeah, in a difficult year, and it was much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? The motion is carried, none opposed. TR 2026-02, temporary borrowing bylaw 01-2026. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number TR 2026-02, temporary borrowing bylaw 01-2026, and that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt bylaw 01-2026, being a bylaw to authorize temporary borrowing from time to time during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Each year, it is standard practice for staff to bring forward a bylaw for temporary borrowing in the case of unforeseen circumstances. This bylaw allows for temporary borrowing by the township if required during 2026 up to the amount of $2 million. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have we had to use it in the past?
No.
No. Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, moving on to Public Works Department, PW 2026-01, Alexandria Lagoon pre-qualification, Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives report PW 2026-01, the Alexandria Lagoon contractor pre-qualification, and that Council approves the pre-qualification recommendations of EVB Engineering, Inc. for the Alexandria Lagoon Expansion Project, PW 1006, and authorizes the competitive bidding process with the 5 pre-qualified contractors.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is fairly exciting. This means we're really starting to move with the Lagoon project. So it was November 28th in 2025 that we created this pre-qualification document and put it out to bidders. It was open for a month, and we're able to answer questions. And at this point, it's really looking at the different bidders, what their qualifications are. Have they done projects like this in the past? Are they reasonable and capable to be able to do this work? And we have 5 bidders, which is a good pool. So it came down to Dalcon Construction, Duran Contractors Limited, Lewis Bray Construction, Peak Construction Group, and Thomas Fuller Construction. All of them scored over 70, which qualified them for to bid on the Lagoon project. We had 2 bidders, Black McDonald and Coleman Construction, that that met the mandatory requirements, but didn't demonstrate that they'd completed projects similar to this before. So upon the approval of this recommendation, we will notify the contractors, and we'll start distributing the bid documents for the Alexandria Lagoon, and the bid process will start. We'll do the tender evaluation and then bring back a contract award. And I don't have all the dates. We still want to have another discussion with EVB. We also have a final discussion with the operators, waterworks operators, to make sure that there's no changes that we need to make. And then we'll be able to proceed with awarding the contract.
Sorry, you said you don't have the dates, but what's your general feeling on timeline to have this awarded?
About a month and a half. So, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Seems like everybody was fairly close in their scores. Okay. Any questions or comments from anyone? Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
I like the fact that there's a prequal on this. Is this standard practice for a project like this? We haven't seen one here, obviously, so.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we haven't done I haven't done a project of this scope for the township before, but in my previous experience working for larger contractors, we would always, on federal projects, we would always pre-qualify as our contractors. It especially gives us a chance. One of the things that I really appreciate is evaluating the health and safety scope of the contractor and the management staff that they have available, so that you're able to see, do they actually have the administration to support the construction efforts? Because even though you may have seen the logo of the company on the side of an excavator, it's that office staff can make a real difference for if you're going to get those timely answers and the support that you really need to get the project over the line.
Nice. I know, agreed. A pool of 5 is, I think, pretty decent to pull from to get our final numbers on it. Thank you.
So will we be using a scoring matrix for those, and what does price, how many points for their price?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't have the pricing of, the scoring matrix for the tender in front of me, but generally the price takes the lion's share of the actual qualification for the bid for the Lagoon, and this pre-qualification actually reduces a lot of those requirements. Generally, when we put out a bid, it's almost like this pre-qualification document and your actual tender all smushed into one, and we'll have a sort of scoring matrix to say, yes, your price was good, but we didn't see that you have the admin team and the health and safety stuff behind you to actually bid the document. So, this is a better way of doing it, because you evaluate those companies first, say, okay, you're qualified. There will be score that is allocated not based on pricing, but I expect it to be in the range of 80% of the bid is based on pricing. The other major part that can be disqualifying of a bid is understanding of the project. So if we see a good bid, but we suspect that they haven't included
Right.
for all of the components, if we see that a lot, it means we probably haven't done a good bidding process. But we have lots of site visits. The site visit for the Alexandria Lagoon is scheduled in February 3rd. So that's when we plan to meet with the contractors on site. And that's our very first meeting. And I don't think that we haven't quite planned out when the bid is going to close yet. But that'll be our on-site meeting, and I think Marco was also waiting to see how many bids that we got, whether we're happy with the 5 pool, and we can go from there.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. There are none opposed. Items under the consent agenda. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive the item from the consent agenda for information purposes only.
Any discussion on any items in the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in, go ahead, Councillor Madden.
There was one in there about recycling of alcohol containers. And it was from Wawa, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure that it's necessarily everything that we want to see, but maybe we want to consider something about that after we've had discussions next week, maybe in our next meeting, depending on what the responses are next week.
Okay.
Because there is an issue here right now, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, so we have an in-camera session, very quick meeting tonight. Are there any questions from the floor? Welcome, Heinz.
Thank you. Victoria, do you know to press the button?
There we go.
Thank you. I have a question regarding the last meeting from December the 8th. Under point number 9, new business, there was a proposed amendment to the Conservation Authority Act, and that item was deferred. Is there a plan to be brought back onto the agenda?
Tim?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It was deferred. Unless council wants it brought back for further discussion, I think it was tabled. Was it tabled?
It was tabled and we deferred.
Yeah, so unless a member of council wants it brought back, it's tabled until such time as it is or not.
Because we saw there were some letters from other municipalities in that covering that same aspect of issue. So I thought it was a very important part to address that and express the consensus of the council, I think.
So we can we can discuss it and bring it back at the last meeting. And go ahead.
We were looking at, I think, sort of a hybrid of, because
Yes.
what would have been brought was from South Nation, and we're a little more aligned with what Raisin Region was talking about.
Yes,
So
because
it's sort of
there was
to
a little bit
create-
of a difference
Yeah,
in
it
what
was
they,
to create something that
what
was
they
a
were
little more
looking for,
representative
yeah.
of our position.
yes.
So that, yeah, there should be something coming back at some point in time, I think.
Yeah, I think that was what council wanted, so next meeting.
Thank
you. On that, in regards to the budget, I mean, it was passed today, but on the meeting on the 8th, there was no document attached to the agenda, so for the public to see. So I find that curious, because the document was only available since last Friday, really, to see what the budget's really all about and all the details. And when you look at on I'll take just a few minutes here. The summary outlines of the budget. It speaks, or it claims that there is an increase of 422,000, 485,000, which is actually not correct, because the difference between the actual expenditure or the budget from last year, 2025, and the proposed budget for 2026 is 757,383. So this is
Were you looking at the 2025 actuals?
correct.
The 2025 actuals don't, go ahead.
I realize what I'm
Through you, Mr.
saying,
Mayor.
but the thing is too, as if we present numbers to the public, the question is, are we looking at a fictional number, which is a budget for 2025, or are we looking at an actual really number that really has occurred in actuality, and then compare it with, okay, that's what we lived through in 2025 based on A, B, and C circumstances, and then we look forward into the coming year and see what can we do different, how can we stick within that budget, or where do we need to add something, where can we subtract something. So I think it's a question of how we look at things, really understand your approach, but I question it really in a sense, because the big budget difference is really salaries and benefits, which is, an increase of $327,000, and then you can go through the different departments, and I'll just take this as an example for the public to maybe be a little bit aware of, if they don't go through the whole document, but you have a building department, there's an increase in wages of $41,000 between actual expenditures and proposed expenditures. Bylaw, 26.7%. Economic development, an increase of 51.3% in salaries. Maxwell Complex, an increase of 99%, which is $111,000. Island Park, an increase of 65%, which is an increase of $100,000. We're talking about wages here. The Dome, an increase of 38.2%. Roads administration, an increase of 14.3%. Anyways, I just wanted to point out.
Yeah, I do get what,
Sorry, just to.
I'm just saying that,
Just can I get
we're
her-
talking about
give me a second, please.
Okay.
So to speak to his point, there is one table in the budget document that was not updated from the meeting, so we will update that to show the correct increase, which is not 422,000, but it was updated to 390,000. And then to speak to the increase in wages as discussed at the meeting, I think most departments did highlight that. In the economic development department, that is offset by a grant. So the township would only be paying 50%, and that's a contract position. So if we do not succeed in getting the grant, we would not be hiring that position.
Okay.
And in building, the increase is due to a move from contracted services to an actual employee in the form of a deputy CBO. And then for the recreation departments, those increases aren't correct. However, if you look, there was a realignment from part-time to full-time employees, which would most likely offset your increases.
Right, so the question is then, when you move away from contract to actually employment and increase a 41% increase in salary, I would ask, why does this make any sense financially for the township, right? I'm just pointing out a couple of things that...
We're overwhelmed in the building department. We're losing a guy that's been working 3 days a week. He is a longtime professional, so he knows exactly what's going on. We're gonna have to bring in somebody younger, and they'll probably take 5 days to do what he does in 3 days. So it's just what with everything that comes down from the province, we just can't keep up in the building department.
But then if you hire somebody who has not the qualifications, you wouldn't expect to pay him the same salary either, right? So I'm just saying
You're missing the point though, Heinz, I'll be very clear with you.
Yeah.
It is a very competitive world out there. We may not even get anybody to apply for this job. We have to pay to get people to come. they're in the private sector. It's very difficult to get employees in that department. So if we have to pay more to do it, we're going to have to pay more to do it.
So it means like a $330,000 increase in salaries altogether across the board? There's a lot of decreases in part-time, if you look in the part-time. Well, I just looking at salaries and benefits as total, right? So it's 327,000. I mean, the budget has been passed in this case. I don't think you're making any changes, but just going forward, you know, this is going to be implemented during the course of the year, and I'm just asking, for the sake of the taxpayers or the residents, to keep that in consideration, you know, even going forward for 2027, that we have, you know, people are... We are all taxpayers. So. Sure, yeah, but I hear at the council board as well, the discussions, we need an increase in taxation revenue. You know, this happened a couple of months ago. So I'm not sure where the, you know, what your goal is really. Is the goal an increase in taxation, or is it, you know, to keep the money that's being collected at a certain level? That, you know, who says we have to increase 5.7 or 5.4% every year?
We haven't increased 5.4%.
No, but this time it is, right?
Well, this time it is because it's necessary.
Well, that's my discussion point, right? Is it necessary?
And, we'll get you some answers closer to what you're looking for in the wages department.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Just to add one more thing in there. Heinz, just to make sure when we're talking about these numbers, so that 300 and some odd thousand is not actually the number. I guarantee you there's a line in there where it's offset by $100,000 that's coming out of the part-time, and that was a change in roles. There is money in there that is offsetting that. I know you're looking at one line, but if you look at about 3 or 4 lines on each one, those numbers make a lot more sense, and they're a lot closer to just a cost of living increase or union contract increases. It's not those numbers that you think they are.
Right.
Okay, so
it's just one part, you know, but again, it's still, you're talking about the total budget itself has increased, right? Yeah. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Cadell, moving camera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Manley that we proceed into closed session. As this matter deals with labor relations or employee negotiations, they may be discussed in closed session under Section 239 2D of the Ontario Municipal Act.
Okay, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. We didn't come out again. Yeah, this is Rise and Report. Yep. That is it.
Okay. So, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the council now rise and report from the closed session held on Monday, January 12th, 2026. And that the regular council meeting now resume at 6:43. That the following motion be adopted, that the council of the Township of North Glengarry authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign the memorandum of settlement with SEIU Local 2 Waterworks employees for a new 3-year collective agreement between the Township of North Glengarry and the union. That council directs staff to proceed as discussed in closed session, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute any necessary documents.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion is carried. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of Township of North Glengarry adopts bylaw 04-2026, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, and that the bylaw 04-2026 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council on this 12th day of January, 2026.
Okay, all those in favor? Motion is carried. And Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that there being no further business to discuss, the meeting was adjourned at 6:44 PM.
All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you to staff and council and the public for joining us for this meeting tonight. Everybody have a great week. Thank you.